Chapter 7. Accepting My Fate. It is now definite. After all that happened, I settled in my mind that I would be childless. I forgot about the whole matter. I had already been through enough. So much humiliation and pain. I just wanted to forget that it all ever happened. So there I was once again, extremely sad. So lonely, broken, and devastated. We had spent almost all we had on these treatments, and in the end, we had nothing to show. I hardened my heart and shut off my feelings. I never thought about it again. I started going to the gym, got myself a dog, a new beginning. I accepted my fate. Nevertheless, what fate was this? One way argument and another positive test. Some months after, I remember feeling very irritable, and I just thought it was because of stress. One night, I had a one way argument with my husband. I was very ill mannered to him for not engaging in the argument. Some minutes after, he left with the excuse of going to buy something at the supermarket. I had no choice but to give up on the having a good husband and wife combat idea and decided to work on the computer. After a while, he came back and handed me a pregnancy test. If looks could kill, he would have surely met his creator at that moment. After all we had been through, the last thing I had on my mind was pregnancy. Since he was so polite about the whole matter and asked so kindly to do the test, I agreed. Positive. Incredible, but true. I was pregnant. Only God knows how my husband knew this before me, but it was positive. For an instant, I felt joy, but it quickly faded away. Memories of past loss and trauma bombarded my mind. I was not happy. I was nervous and anxious. Tears rolled over my cheeks, for I knew not if this was a blessing or a curse. Pregnancy confirmed. The next morning, we set an appointment at the same fertility clinic. It surprised doctors that I was pregnant once again. They made all the tests and necessary checkups. It was confirmed. Congratulations to me. They cheered me up a bit, stating that this time we would take strict measures to make sure this pregnancy would stay, and we will do all the necessary tests to make sure the baby was healthy. To start with, they confined me to my bed and to 7 injections per day, various insulin shots because of diabetes, progesterone, and heparin to avoid blood clots. It was not easy becoming a human needle punch. Hey, but it was worth it. My baby became bigger and bigger, and for the first time I went beyond the first trimester. It was a girl, a beautiful angel growing inside of me. I could feel her. She was the sweetest part of me. Things seemed like they would actually work out this time. We bought a few baby clothes and toys. There was hope. Weak womb. I was already in my 5th month, and I had a cute baby bump. I carefully dressed up for my doctor's appointment. I was happy wearing all these maternity clothes. For once, I was a big size for all the good reasons. I was not expecting what followed. Once there, as the doctor was doing the ultrasound, I saw that expression on his face. What was wrong this time? We discovered that because of the previous multiple miscarriages, my womb had become weak. The weight of the baby was making the uterus to open. We had to do an emergency procedure called cervical cerclage, in which they soothe the cervix to avoid preterm birth. It was a temporary relief, yet it only delayed the inevitable. My baby kept kicking and pressing down in such a way that the cerclage started to open. Just a few days after the procedure, they admitted me to the hospital. We needed to buy more time before the baby was born. I was not allowed to get up from bed, not even to go to the toilet. Despite everything, I was calm. I was not afraid, just a little concerned. I did my best not to think about all that could go wrong. I even met some other women that also had complications in their pregnancies, and we all supported each other. Most of them made it out with excellent reports. I, on the other hand, was about to face the most grueling experience of my life. After 13 days in the maternity ward, I started having a high fever because of an infection. The cervix had opened enough to allow part of the baby sac to hang out, and it became a threat to our lives. Doctors immediately pronounced themselves and started their position. I assured them I was okay. I begged them to give the baby more time. 23-week premature birth. 23 weeks were not enough. Although they had given me medication to mature the baby's lungs, her chances of survival were so few. They insisted that if they waited any longer, both of us could die. Therefore, after discussing for a while, they agreed to break my water and induce labor. I remembered the painful contractions in that empty room. They moved me to a chamber that was dark and lonely. I was all by myself, so I started singing. There can be miracles if you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. A nurse came by and added a liquid to my IV drip. Far from helping, it just seemed to make things worse. I could barely keep quiet, and the pain was out of this world. Eventually, they remembered I was there. Another nurse came to check on me and determined that I had dilated enough to move me to the delivery waiting room. There I met other nurses that kept checking to see if I was ready to push out the baby. The pain had me in a terrible mood. I was about to lose my mind, and then suddenly I felt a great pressure on my pelvis. I screamed, "I need to push now!" But they did not believe me. I screamed again, "Please help me!" Oh my goodness, she's coming. I thanked God for a head nurse that came by. She checked me and realized the baby's head was already coming out. They forced me to walk to another room where I would actually deliver the baby. I could not even sit in the wheelchair because the baby's head was already out. Once there, the pushing part was simple for me. The hard part was to watch a total of 7 to 10 doctors trying to save my baby's life, but to no avail. At a moment, there was a lot of movement, and then suddenly there was just silence as the room emptied. Only one doctor and one nurse were left. The doctor was trying to explain to me all the reasons why they would not continue to help my baby. She was just too premature. But all I could say was, "Please, don't let her go." The doctor left, and the nurse placed my baby on a tray. She was still alive. I asked her if they would not put her in an incubator. Her silence spoke 1,000 words. I begged her to allow me to hold my baby and say goodbye. And so it was, watching my baby die. There is no greater pain than watching your baby die in your arms and not being able to do anything. I sang to her as her heart slowly stopped beating and she became blue. As her light was going off, my light went off too. Alive, yet dead. That event took the best of me. Once in the recovery room, I was alive, yet I felt dead. Nurses, family members, and friends tried to comfort me, but I could not hear them. I was far gone. Suicide plan and divine intervention. In secret, I had proposed to take my life that very night. The hospital room had an enormous window without protection, and I had planned to jump when all the other women were asleep. I remember talking to God that afternoon. I begged him to take me with my baby. I told him I was weak, tired, angry, and sad at the same time. Then it seemed like someone spoke to me, but it was not an audible voice. It was more like a deep thought that said, "Let her go. She's going to be fine. Everything will be all right." As I looked out the window, I saw a beam of sunlight that brought me so much peace and comfort. And I heard this word, sleep. A very heavy sleep took over me.